Welcome to the program, friend. You're watching a 7-part series that we shot a little over a year ago on self-defense, firearms, the Second Amendment, history. If you like today's show and you think, oh, I wish I'd have caught some of the other ones, you can watch all of them online at our website, thevoiceofresistance.com. And again, I want to say that some of the material in this show may not be appropriate for small children. I leave it to your discernment as a parent, as a grandparent, to determine what your children or grandchildren are able to watch, what's age appropriate for them. There have been a lot of changes that have taken place in the last 50 years. We're going to discuss some of them in today's program. And interestingly, and somewhat troublingly, not too long ago, a poll was taken of average Americans from the entire political spectrum, and a significant minority of those that were polled felt that a revolution may need to happen in order to protect our civil liberties. I was stunned at the data. One of the things that could drive people to the breaking point would be if our federal government or any of our state governments tried to seize our firearms and tried to basically trample our God-given rights that are codified in the Second Amendment. We hope, we pray that that day never comes. But having recently seen what happened in Nevada with Cliven Bundy and his supporters and the armed federal agents that were taking his cows, friends, this discussion could not be more timely. I hope that you are encouraged and challenged and intellectually stimulated by this series. God bless you. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Voice of Resistance. We are the last of the Jedis, but there are others that we're training. Maybe you. All right. By the way, this will be the last show for the time being that we have out this lovely assortment of firearms. I want to say one thing, as I've said it before. Your freedom was purchased at the barrel of a gun, and it will be maintained at the barrel of a gun. Now, some of you watching this are like, oh, some of you are saying, yes, this is great. Why do we have such a divide in this country? Let me go over a couple of reasons why I think things are in such a mess. This program is seen largely on Christian television stations, others as well. And much of the evangelical Christian community and some of the Catholic community has been focused so much on spirituality, whether it's having a proper relationship with Christ and being devoted in your family, perhaps focusing on the faith movement, wanting prosperity, perhaps focusing on the next life. Whatever stream of spirituality you find yourself in, there has been a separation in many Christians' minds from our life with Christ and our life in this world as Christ's servants and ambassadors here on earth. In other words, a few days ago, I did a segment or two on what the scriptures have to say about your right to defend yourself and even to have guns or whatever type of weapon you want to defend yourself against tyranny and government. Most Christians don't think in terms of God's law applying to the things of this world, economics, socialism, education of children, and certainly not our right to self-defense. You've got to go to philosophers like Augustine to find really in-depth material on just war, on the right to self-defense. Or go to Larry Pratt at Gun Owners of America. He's got some great material. So that's been one issue. Another issue is that we are caught up with bread and circuses. Now, as the stranglehold of the tax burden that we bear comes upon us, more and more of us are working more than one job. Many of our spouses have gone to work, and we're struggling for our daily bread. And as the dollar is deflated and deflated and deflated, and we see the price of our food go up, many of us are preoccupied with our bread. And then there's others of us that are distracted by our circuses, football, baseball, music videos, games, the Wii, all of these different electronic games that kids and adults have. We have become obsessed with entertainment, and that we've taken our eye off the ball. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day. I'm delighted that you're watching this show. My encouragement would be to turn off your TV as quickly as possible after I'm off the air, or your computer, and read good books. So these are some of the reasons why I think that we're in a mess. Another reason is because of just horrific education. The government schools have produced such horrifying results in our lives, in our minds, crippling the ability of people to reason or to think logically. I mean, we're politically correct. We know diversity. We've got tolerance, but we can't think ourselves out of a wet paper bag. Now, before we take our break, I'm going to read to you, to prove my point about education, I'm going to read to you a quote from George Washington and one from Thomas Jefferson. George Washington said, "A free people ought not only to be armed and disciplined, but they should have sufficient arms and ammunition to maintain a status of independence from anyone who might attempt to abuse them, which would include their own government." President Obama, Attorney General Holder, you can take this quote all the way to the hot place with you. You people are in defiance of the founding fathers of this country and the philosophy that gave birth to this country. Here's one from Thomas Jefferson. "No free man should ever be debarred the use of arms. The strongest reason for the people to retain the right to keep and bear arms is, as a last resort, to protect themselves against tyranny in government." I'm going to paint some scenarios when we come back from this break that are, I promise you, are going to be very disturbing to people. But you have to understand that what I'm about to tell you is in perfect keeping with the philosophy of George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and the founders of this republic, that we must have a good supply of firearms and ammunition to protect ourselves from tyranny, from our own government if need be. I'm not afraid to say it. You need to not be afraid to say it either, because it's the truth. I'll be right back.